Good morning, and I'm so glad you guys all joined us this morning for Yoga with Lorna. I'm Lorna. Nice to meet you and those at home. This is the third YouTube that I'm going to be doing for the town here, so I'm glad that you're home. If you haven't started yet, or you can go grab maybe a beach towel or a small blanket to sit on. Sometimes it's helpful to get a little bit more elevation. I would sit on another one back there for now. You'll see that might help the knees go down a little bit more, if that feels okay. I will be teaching here once a month, and you can look on the rec site for that schedule. It's not next time, I believe it's going to be on a Wednesday. I cannot tell you the exact date in May. And I also teach outdoor yoga in Highlands, and if you'd like information about that, you can go on my website, Yoga with Lorna, and there's contact information and information about those classes. So each time I start a class, I like to think about something thematically to focus on, and also those of you who have seen my other YouTubes, I like to focus on yoga. Why do yoga? Many of us, this class is geared towards those who are not familiar with yoga, as well as those who have practiced for quite a while. And part of the wonderful thing about yoga, and people always hear, it awakens this peace within. We can stretch our muscles and feel relaxed, and all that is true. And this time of year, many of us start to think, I think women maybe tend to think of this more like, oh my God, it's swimsuit season. Oh my God, I got to get in a bathing suit. It's been winter time. We've been hibernating at home with lots of good food. And I think the first thought is to go jogging and get really active in running and walking. And I don't know that people realize that also yoga can actually help with losing weight, if that is a goal. When we relax that parasympathetic nervous system, it helps the cortisol, the hormones in our body, relax as well. And the cortisol affects our metabolism. So if we are stressed, our metabolism can get out of whack. And those are people who say, I don't eat, I exercise, I do everything, but I'm not losing weight. Well, sometimes it's the relaxation that, among other things, we can get from yoga. And when we relax in that way, the metabolism smooths out, the cortisol gland calms down, and that really helps. It's not a myth. You can look it up, and it really helps. As well as when we do yoga, we're focusing on what's happening inside to our bodies. We're becoming self-aware. And the more self-aware we become, the more we're tuned into what we're doing and how our body's reacting. That can translate to our choices of food and how we're eating, and how that it all ties in. All kinds of activity are always really good. And besides, if we don't, weight is not anything that we care about. Yoga strengthens our body, we rebalance our body, and we start to feel good about ourselves. And that's the most important thing. So today, we're going to start this awakening, this peacefulness within, on our bellies. So I'm not going to stay on my belly, but I'll guide you guys there. You're going to lie down slowly on your bellies. We're getting into what's called crocodile pose. Now, if this doesn't feel good for you, this is a great prop to have, because you might want to put the blanket under your chest, but you'll see. I'll give you a minute or two to experiment with this. Think about your feet. This is called crocodile. Think about your heels going wide, maybe as wide as the mat, only if that feels right for you. All our bodies are different. And your feet flopping out, just like an alligator or crocodile. And then, actually, it's called crocodile pose, not alligator pose. And then we stack our hands one on the other and place our forehead on our stacked hands. And again, in this moment, noticing just how you're feeling. Feel this expansion of space in and around your body, around the low back. And what I particularly love about being in this pose is as I allow the floor to hold me and I allow everything, I'm inside myself more. I can focus more easily because it's like that turtle in the shell, that quality of coming inside. And as you come inside, and your belly is expanding into the floor, we can tangibly notice our breath. So without forcing it, just noticing the expansion of your belly, which is your inhale, and then as it slowly comes away. And you notice there's a little resistance of the floor. So there's something happening here where the abdominal muscles even have to, we're not looking for them to work too hard, but they are getting a little bit of that resistance. We're not forcing anything, we're just allowing this movement to calm and smooth any ripples in the breath. Calming our energy and our mind. Relaxing around our head and throat. Calming down our torso and hips and legs. Imagine reverberating this calmness throughout all the organs of your belly. And see if you can notice that as you exhale, your body may want to spread out a little more. It sort of releases and spreads out. It may not be noticeable. You may feel it or not feel it. Again, in this position, can we, even though the way our hands are, can we soften through our shoulders a little bit and our back? And then think about expanding that breath a little bit more. So you're filling out, we're never forcing that belly, a little more. And using a longer exhale as that body tends to release and spread, just allowing the support of the floor to hold you. You can do a few more like that at your own pace. Really noticing, tangibly noticing that inhale from the belly. Breathing abdominally is one of the best ways to try to find calmness when you're looking for it. This also helps. We're starting to awaken this understanding of what's happening inside our body. Okay. And then from here, just feel this release. We're actually practicing how to relax. People often need to practice this, believe it or not. And then let's bring our legs up, maybe a little closer together if you want. You can experiment this. And then turn this off. And start to squeeze your buttock area. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Again, we're finding muscles we may not know we even had, right? And slowly releasing it. Again, feeling that release travel throughout your body maybe a little more. And try 2 or 3 more, again, at your own pace. We're not only squeezing our buttocks, perhaps we're squeezing our pelvic area as well. Take your time as you release. And maybe think about if can you isolate the squeezing of the pelvic area and then the buttock area? Can they be addressed separately? And now just letting it go. And we're going to lift up our head and shoulders and put our elbows under our shoulders, creating with our hands the number 11. I got a little off with this. It's been so long since I'm teaching classes, I forgot to put my phone on what's that called? Silence. Okay, so this is a Sphinx pose. So if you can, feel yourself lifting up from your belly button up through your chest, shoulders relaxing away. And your head's probably right now looking up a little bit. See what happens when you lower your head slightly so that the back of your spine is in line with the back of your head. Even if you're feeling you're using some strength here, lifting up a little more, shoulders relaxing away. This is our Sphinx pose. And then what we're going to do now is come on, let's slowly come on and slide your hands down on the mat by your shoulders, forehead to the mat. And your legs can come straight back a little bit apart as much as feels good. Your forehead's to the mat. Your elbows are coming toward each other. And we're going to lift your shoulders, your neck, your head. Keep your elbows in toward each other. And back of head in line with spine, and what we call baby cobra. Bhujangasana. This is one of the first things little babies do when after they're born, to check out everything. Oh, okay. Do I want to stay here or do I want to slowly release back down? Forehead to the mat. And then let's do that again. And as you press down your hands, energetically pull your hands towards you as you pull the front of your head, shoulders and chest up. Back of the head, if you notice, if you lower your chin slightly, it takes a little pressure off your neck. And again, releasing slowly down. Thinking about keeping. And when you release down, allow your shoulders to let everything release here. And let's just do that again. So you're pressing your hands down and energetically back towards you, pressing down, pushing your body. Maybe you'll come up a little bit more, maybe. This is actually the beginning of a back bend. Shoulders away from you, Slowly, always with control, coming down. And actually, we can try one more thing. As you press up in a slight back bend, see how it feels to lift your hands off the mat. Shoulders, elbows in toward each other. When your elbows are in toward each other, you're keeping your chest area open. That's an important part of yoga. And let yourself come down. Turn your cheek one way. Let your arms come alongside of you. And fully allow your body to awake the peacefulness within. Practice relaxation. And then turn your head the other way. Always trying to balance here. And one more thing while we're on our stomachs, why not? Come up a little bit so that you can bring your right forearm parallel to the top of the mat. So you're lifting up a little bit to keep your right forehead parallel. And then you can put your head down on your forearm, on your wrist, somewhere around there, and lift your opposite leg up, your left leg. And with your head down, see if you can reach back toward that ankle. It's okay if you don't reach it. Absolutely fine. If you don't reach it, the action of pulling back and pulling your foot towards you as you're reaching your arm back is perfect. And then you're going to level, square yourself up and lift up as much as possible. Feeling some stretch on the middle bottom of your thigh. Okay? And without reaching your ankle, absolutely fine. Reaching up and back, pulling your foot towards you. All good. And then slowly with control, bringing it all down, letting it go, and we're going to switch sides. So the other arm's going to be parallel, and you'll bend up your opposite leg. You're going to reach back to that ankle. And then from here, you can lift your head up and turn, square yourself up so you notice the muscle you feel inside your leg. Lifting, lifting. Just notice where you're feeling some opening, some resistance perhaps. Nice. And slowly releasing it. And we're going to come up to hands and knees. Open your knees wide, big toes together, very slowly, because this is a counter pose to the back bending we've been doing. Sit back towards your heels, let your head settle on the mat. If your head doesn't want to come straight, forehead straight to the mat, stack your hands, stack your fists, put a blanket under your head, whatever feels really good. Allowing this release of tension around the back around your back and your hips. Perhaps noticing, like we did when we were breathing on our bellies, that same pressure of the abdomen against your thighs, releasing tension. So it's very important that your head feels supported, that your arms feel soft. Just scan your body and notice if there's anything you're holding that you can release. From here, we're coming up on our hands and knees. And we have our big toes toward each other. They can feed back into a number 11 in the back. We can turn around and look at each foot, see if it's in line with your knee and your calf. And look the other way. Some people say for cat and cow to have your wrists directly under your shoulders. They can be a little forward too. That's okay. Gives us more space sometimes. To release our belly into cow, lifting our head and tailbone up, shoulders away from ears. And then as we exhale, we pull our belly button into our spine, our head drops down, our pelvis comes toward our hands, cat pose. And again, on an inhale, let it go, lift your head and tailbone. And on your own, continue connecting your breath to cat and cow. Engaging that abdominal muscles too. But never doing anything too hard. We're looking in yoga to decontract in order to relieve stress. And if we tighten everything a little bit too much, or we try to release too, we're not relieving the tension that we're looking to. And this beautiful cat and cow pose, which is one I include in all my yoga classes. I try to change up a lot of poses because there's too many to do in an hour. But this one, I think, is vital all the time. It helps keep a healthy spine, a flexible spine, a lubricated spine, all good stuff. So the next time that you're in cat pose, bring your big toes together and sit back toward child's, arms straight out in front of you. And then come up to table, belly comes down, cow, lift head and tailbone, cat, and press back to child's. And we're connecting our breath here. So we come up to cow, exhale to cat. That same exhale is pressing us back into child's pose. Arms straight in front of us, maybe even a little longer. Nice. And again, repeating, come up to the table, our hands can be further in front of us. That's fun right now. Cow, cat, back to child's. Continue this on your own. All right, I'll just do it one more time with you. So we're coming up to table, but it's not your conventional table. It's where our hands already are. Our belly's coming down, our tailbone, we're into cow. And as we lift up our belly button into our back, we're also pressing back and bring our big toes together to child's. But this, our arms are long in front of us. So this is called puppy pose. Down dog and child's pose have a baby, they become puppy pose. Inhale up to cat, cow, puppy. Exhale, connecting that breath. One more, absolutely on your own. And when you're back, stay back in child's pose. Arms straight out in front of you. And lift up your head. Lift up your head. And with our arms straight out in front of us, and we're sitting back as far as it's available for us, like we're in child. Let's walk both our hands, fingers on our fingertips, out toward the right. And we're going to try not to invite that left hip to come with us. So we're going to walk those hands out to the right. And then when you've gone as far as you think you can, keep your fingers there. And then think about bringing that left hip back a little bit. Notice the resistance that you just created, that lengthening that you're creating along the left side of your body. Is your head and your face soft? See if make sure you can shake your head a little bit. We don't want to create any. So when we have resistance in one part of our body, we often transfer it to our face or somewhere else. Okay, and then let's walk back towards the center again. In fact, let's settle it back into puppy in the center, just to recenter ourselves. In fact, if you can have your head down and come up on your fingertips, you'll feel a nice stretch through your shoulder area. Nice straight arms, reaching forward. Feel that nice stretch through your shoulders. And then again, we're going to lift up our head and walk our fingertips over toward the left. Our head travels with our arms. And then that right hip that wants to come along, say, nope, you can't come, go back. So we try to bring that right hip back a little bit. We feel that resistance, that lengthening along the right side of our body. Just breathe into that. Notice how your breath can soften that resistance. Nice. And then coming back again to center. Coming back up into tabletop. Let's walk our hands a little bit forward. Our knees a little bit back. Again, there's no science here. We'll figure it out. You're going to tuck your toes under, and you're going to use the strength of your legs and your hips. You're going to lift up into downward facing dog. So you might want to recenter your feet. Yeah. Just nice stretch. Think of that dog or cat you might have that does that beautiful morning stretch. And while you're here, start to pedal one foot then the other. So you bend one knee while the other heel reaches down the other way. And your feet may want to be a little more hips distance apart, perhaps not as wide as the mat, unless you totally are enjoying that. You can experiment both ways. Again, the length of your feet, legs apart, is all something that you start to discover what works best for you. So I apologize, I'm not always looking at the camera. I'm lucky enough today to have students in the classroom that I can pay attention to. So I'm so excited about that. And then let's come to stillness. And come forward, shoulders over wrists. This is the top of a plank. So you may need to adjust your feet here. Lifting up the core a little bit, reaching your heels back of head in line with spine. And then from here, let's lift our hips. Everything stays the same, come into downward facing dog. Is this a whole new dog now for you? Often when we flow, we don't want to move our hands and feet. So this is the length of our down dog, and our plank works out well. So then we're going to lift up our heels and roll forward, shoulders over wrist into plank. strengthening. So when we're in plank, think of reaching your heels back. Think of lifting that belly button just a little bit, right? Forearms squeezing toward each other, shoulders away from your ears, lots going on. And again, lifting up those hips, down dog. Exhale. Let's do a couple more, lifting up those heels, floating forward on an inhale into plank. And exhaling, lifting up those hips, downward facing dog. Okay, how about one more? How does that feel? The idea of one more of those. Coming forward into plank. Nice, very nice. Think about your shoulders away from your ears. Yeah, and notice that slight adjustment, that's beautiful. And then lifting back up into downward facing dog. Now from here, soften your knees and start to walk your hands backwards towards your feet. And when you get there, you'll be in a forward fold, Uttanasana, hanging down, forward fold. And the idea is not to touch our toes, not important right now. The idea is just to find this way to release. A slight bend in our knees is nice. In fact, when I start this, I sometimes like to bend my knees so much that my torso rests on my thighs. And I shake my head yes and no. That heavy head that we're carrying on our shoulders, when we have that expression, we carry a big weight on our shoulders. Well, we literally do carry a big weight on our shoulders. Our heads, they can weigh 10 pounds or more. And then if this feels nice for you, grab opposite elbows and notice and hang down that head nice and loose and rock back and forth. And notice how this gives you a little bit more release. And you can rock forward and back and side to side. And switch elbows the opposite way. Rocking a little bit if you want to. Lots of options here. We never have to do everything the teacher says. And then allow your hands to come down and touch the mat. That means you can bend your knees as much as you need to touch the mat. Head is hanging loose. Shake your head yes and no. Letting it go. Think about your shoulders wiggling a little bit. And then from here, never forcing. Start to straighten your legs any amount. Think about the inner thighs reaching back and up. Any amount though. If your hands come off the floor of doing it, then keep the knees bent and so that your hands can still make contact. Nice. And then from here, we're going to lift up halfway, like you can float your hands up your calves, almost to your knees, so you have a flat back. You're looking down. Nice. And slight bend in your knees. Bring your hands to your hips. Standing up. Yay, standing up. Float your arms out and up on an inhale. And as you walk to the top of the mat, heel toe, bring your hands together to heart center. Take your time. Notice how hard it is to walk slowly, heel to toe. Feeling that balance. Let your hands come down to the side. I'm going to face you. Yeah. Right. So here we are. Let's roll our shoulders forward and up toward our ears and down and around our back. Yeah. A couple more just like that. Inhaling when it's forward. Exhaling as it releases. Exhales are great for releasing. And inhales allow this expansion. Of course, now we want to reverse the other way. And I love seeing people who are going so slowly that they can actually feel which muscles are being engaged, right? As they roll it the opposite way. 3 each way is good. And another, after you're done with 3, we're going to, again, stand in Tadasana. Tadasana is mountain pose. So we look down on our feet. Hips distance apart is good. Some yoga teachers teach you to stand with your feet together. I find that that's more difficult for my balance. It's not the way I've been trained. So everything goes, really. Every teacher you have is going to mention something, another way to go about it. So as we stand in Tadasana, think about your feet. think of, do you have equal weight on both feet? Come forward to the balls of your feet a little bit. Notice what that feels, to the heels, to the sides, the inside. And see if you can find, lift and spread those toes. And you don't have to look at your feet now. Just see if you can feel equal balance on both of your feet. This is our foundation. If the foundation is all wrong in a building cracks going up. Same with our bodies, unfortunately. Lots of our problems with our knees and hips started there, and now the best we can do is try to alter it a little bit. It does help, and it does make a difference, just knowing what's happening. And then here in Tadasana, let's engage our kneecaps, lifting them up, squeezing them. Notice how our quadriceps engage. And as you engage that, feel your belly lifting. In fact, you can take your hands and almost lift your belly up. Notice what that does, just lifting it up. And your tailbone will drop a little bit, and your shoulder and your chest opens up. So keep that, and then allow your hands to come down again. And palms facing forward again opens up our chest. Yeah. Close your eyes here. Lift and spread those toes a little bit. Now we have a fair amount of tension in our bodies now because we created this posture. So think about the line of this posture, how it feels, and soften around it. So you could stay here forever and it feels awesome. So soften around. Our knees don't need to be locked, nothing, just getting that idea. And notice this, as you release this calmness, this energy starts to surround you. Feel it and notice it. Nice. So from here, we're going to, I got to check the time too. We're going to do sun salutations, which is a great thing to do in the morning. I don't always do in the afternoon because it's energizing, the word. So you're at the top of the mat. I'll come on this side to the top of the mat. You're going to float your arms out and up on an inhale. Float them out, forward fold, hanging down. Not important to touch the floor. We don't care about how far you can do anything in this class. Inhale up halfway, flat back. And then you're going to plant your hands and walk your feet back to a top of a push-up plank pose. From the top of a push-up plank pose, some of you might be strong enough, I'm not one, to keep your elbows in and lower yourself all the way down, lifting up in cobra. I drop my knees, and then I go down and lift up into cobra pose. We did cobra early on, shoulders away from ears, lifting up, slide back then. Allow yourself to come up towards your knees, tuck your toes, downward facing dog, exhale. And slowly, keeping your head down, walking your feet to the top of the mat, hanging forward fold, Uttanasana when you get there. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Slight bend your knees, float your arms out and up. Hands come together overhead. Exhale to heart center. Anjali Mudra. We're going to do two more of these sun salutations. Inhale your arms up, out and up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Forward fold, let it go, right? Nothing so important that it has to be, And then walk your left foot back this time. If you walk the other one back to top of a push-up. Hold that there. And then find yourself coming down, however works for you. Lifting up into cobra or a little more of a cobra, just wherever you're at today. Keeping your elbows in. So in gyms, it's a different motion, but in yoga, we keep it in, opening up our chest. Tucking your toes, coming to your knees into downward facing dog. And again, slowly walking your feet to the top of the mat, hanging forward fold when you get there, Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Bending your knees slightly, floating your arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, again, inhale your arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, forward fold. Step back to top of a push-up plank. Lower yourself down, coming up into cobra pose. Tucking your toes back to downward facing dog. Walking your hands to the top of the mat, hanging forward fold. Inhale up halfway, float your arms out and all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. If you'd like to do a couple more of these on your own, or I don't know, we'll move on today. But as we move into the summer, we're going to start doing more of these. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, part of this awakening, the peacefulness within, which is what we're talking about today, right? Getting that parasympathetic nervous system, the one that rests and digests, to kick in. Okay, so tree pose. No worries if your balance is off today, but we're just going to think first about standing steady on both of your feet like we did in Tadasana. And you're welcome to have something to hold on to or go to a wall. That is fine. When I was teaching my grandchildren tree pose, the first thing they did was run to the wall. And we think, oh, adults, we don't want any props, but kids think nothing of it. It's fine. We got to bring out the childness in us. The actual achievement is not important. It's just to have fun doing it. So we're going to lift up. Okay, so the most important part of learning tree is our drishti, is our focus. When we start to bring our foot up, whether you want to bring it to your calf or to your thigh, I find it's helpful to find a spot on the floor first. And then I slowly find a spot in front of me. And that's my drishti. And if I keep my eye on that one spot, it helps me balance. Of course, when I'm talking and teaching, I don't know how my balance will be today, but doesn't matter. So we're going to bring up that foot to the inside of our thigh. I'm looking at a spot on the floor right now. And I'm thinking about my foot going into my thigh and my thigh going into my foot. That helps balance. And then somehow it helps the opposite side arm to come out because it balances out your knee. Let's see if we can keep your eye maybe on the floor or bring it up. Maybe bring your arm straight up. Your eye on something, right? And then bringing it back down. So what we're going to do from here, why I wanted to do tree, is that we have an external rotation here, which is perfect for you guys to step all the way back with your foot going out, right from the tree. Beautiful. That brings us into a beautiful, and I'm going to be here again, into a beautiful warrior one pose. And again, you can make adjustments here, but somehow I find that helps me from going from tree into this warrior one pose. So in warrior one, if we somehow a rule of thumb sometimes is to line the heels up with each other. But often I like to put my foot even further out wider to the side of the mat. And I put my hands on my waist and I can turn to the top of my mat to my front foot a little more easily if my foot is a little bit, so that's absolutely fine. But if you want to just try it, that back foot can go a little bit more to the side and then you can turn forward a little more. It gives you a little more room. And then I look at my front foot and my front knee and I try to see if I can get my knee over my ankle without it wanting to go too far. So I push it to the point where no matter how far I press my knee, it wants to stay over my ankle. So there I am facing forward and I'm noticing I'm pressing even into the peaky side of my back foot and pressing into my front of my foot. And again, if your body doesn't want to turn forward, that's fine if we're like this. Whatever feels good. We can't hurt ourselves in yoga. We force anything that doesn't feel right for us today. So we will always want to be mindful of that. And then we're going to inhale, arms forward and up. This is warrior one. So we're think about engaging that core, dropping the tailbone, almost like what we did in Tadasana. Feel the strength. Feel your legs squeezing toward each other almost, but really equal weight in your feet. There was a cute cartoon I saw it on Facebook where this woman came into her interview and she was in this pose. Did you see it? I don't know. And she was in this interview and this serious guy's behind his desk and he goes, Miss Adams, it's really time for you to start your interview right now. She's in this warrior one pose, I guess, getting ready for this interview. So funny. So yeah, so here we're gonna flow a little bit. So as you straighten your front leg, allow your hands to come down. And then let's bring our hands to gold post arms. So yeah, opening up our shoulder, yeah. And then as we bend our knee, we're reaching our arms up again. Warrior one, straightening them forward, hands forward and down. Nice. So let's bring our hands into gold post arms, reaching up into warrior one, and reaching down. And forward and up into warrior one. And what we're going to do now is called humble warrior. We're going to bring our hands behind us, interlace your fingers behind you if you can, any amount. In my yoga studio where we have props, if that doesn't reach for you, we always find a strap or something to hold. All that works. No worries if something doesn't work for you. It's our bodies are at different points right now in different shapes. Lifting your chest up, opening up your shoulders. That's the motion right now. Maybe even looking up, maybe slight back bend. Yeah, feel that nice stretch through your heart center. And then humble yoga is where we're keeping our hands interlaced behind us and we're bowing inside that front leg, bringing our arms up overhead any amount that wants to go today, squaring off perhaps a little bit, but not necessarily. Few breaths here, about 3 full breaths in humble warrior. You can see why this is humble. And there's often a little bit of a balance thing going on here. And now release your hands to frame your front foot and walk that front foot back into downward facing dog. Inhale forward, top of a push-up. We're going to do just a sun salutation here. Flat top of your feet, let your hip come toward the floor, lifting your chest. This is called up dog. Nice stretch here. Shoulders away from ears. And we tend to want to shrug our shoulders, so we can keep them soft. And again, we're going to tuck our toes, downward facing dog, and walk our feet to the top of the mat, hanging forward fold. Inhale up, halfway, flat back. Bend your knees, stretch your arms out and up. Exhale to heart center. And we got to do tree and this whole series on our other side. Okay, so this time, and I think on this side, one side's not as easy as another side. You'll find that when we discover that, right? So nice strength into your right leg or whichever one you chose to do. You just do the other one, right? Keep your eye on one spot on the floor. And again, you don't have to lift your leg all the way up here. It can be here. It can be resting on a block or a book. We do what works for us. This is a process. Many of us have been practicing many years. This doesn't happen overnight. Bring your leg in, pressing the foot into the leg and the leg into the foot, finding that special dristi, that special spot. Yeah, don't look at me. See, I can't be your dristi. In fact, I'm not going to do it with you right now. Well, okay, I'll try. Those of you that have to be in this longer, sorry about that. Okay. Lifting your arms up overhead. And then from here, you're going to step back into that warrior one with the external rotation. I was facing the wrong way, yeah. And again, setting up for that warrior one on this side. Scoot your foot forward so maybe your knee is over your ankle. And again, if you hands on your waist square, and if it doesn't square as much as you would like today, you bring your foot out closer to the side of the mat, maybe. That's all good. Okay, there we go. Feeling in equal weight on that back foot, so you might want to think about that pinky side of that foot, right? Nice straight in those legs. Inhaling your arms forward and up. And here we are, warrior. Go on my Facebook page. I shared this particular cartoon because I thought it was so cute. We need warriors posed to get the courage to face our day, I guess, and know that we can stay in an uncomfortable position and find this calmness around it. How do we find calmness around our effort? That's what yoga is, actually. Finding calmness around effort and bringing that to our life. And then from here, let's do gold post arms, just opening up our chest, lifting it up a little bit, looking up. Nice. Reaching arms back up. As you straighten your front leg, bring your arms forward and down on an exhale. And then gold post arms. And as you reach your arms up, bend into the front leg. Reaching up. Straightening the leg, arms down. Goal post. Bending in, reaching up. Reaching down. I think maybe we did one more goal post. Reaching up. Down. And now forward and up. And we're going to clasp our hands behind our back. Maybe the opposite clasping that you did before. If you can figure out what that is. And again, feel your shoulders reaching away from each other, the chest lifting, the heart lifting. And humble warrior, bowing inside that front knee, lifting the arms up over your head any amount. I know I have trouble having my eyes closed in this pose. I, at this point, still need to have it open for balance. So I'm going to test myself with it closed. Yeah, I can, something to play with. When it's closed, you notice that there is a balance issue going on for sure. And from here, let your hands frame that front foot to the back, downward facing dog. Nice stretch, 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 down dog. Inhale, forward, top of a push-up. Lower yourself. Actually, just lower your hips down, lift your chest. Up dogging it. Maybe you can wiggle side to side, opening up those hips, yeah. Tuck your toes back, downward facing dog. Let's soften our knees and walk backwards towards our feet. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. And walk to the, let's see, where are you? In the back of the mat, perfect. Let's see how we can get you to sit down. Drop your knees to the mat there. Yeah, and come around and bring your legs in front of you. That worked out quite well. Okay, here we are, we're sitting. Yay. So sometimes it's nice again here to say, yep, you know, to sit up on a blanket. I'm gonna guess sideways for you. If you lift your hips up a little bit, it makes these postures a drop easier. Yeah. Okay, just keeping track of the time. Okay, the first thing actually let's do here is bend your right foot up and plant it next to your long leg. And then with your left arm, reach around that knee, hugging it in toward you. And then your right arm, lifting it up and bring it behind you. And the heel of your hand behind your head could be on that blanket or pillow. Lifting up, lengthening that spine. And after you've lengthened your spine, lifting it up, hug that knee in and turn toward your right. Twisting, lifting, and twisting. Again, finding calmness around your effort. Twists are awesome in yoga. They help massage the organs inside your body. So you can without forcing, see if you can lift your spine a little more and twist around that thigh that's bent a little more. Just experimenting, never forcing. Nice. And then slowly unwinding back toward that foot. That leg, bring your foot into that thigh, so your right foot's into your left thigh. Yeah. And we're going to start by the left arm alongside on the inside of your left leg. And then your Right arm coming over your ear, reaching toward those toes, turning sideways as much as you can. So the pressure of your arm into your leg helps you turn sideways a little more, reaching over toward that foot, maybe lengthening that arm a little bit. Now, there will be people who can reach their toes. I believe that 30 years ago I was able to do that, but somehow I don't even remember. It's not important. The important is the feeling of unwinding, releasing, enjoying the calmness that you're creating for yourself, noticing your breath and how your breath helps you soften into these poses. And then from here, turning toward that long leg and reaching forward any amount. It's not so much about curling your back, it's keeping your back long and reaching forward, maybe toward your foot if that's available, doesn't matter. Some people whose arms are even longer than their feet put a block behind their foot and reach even longer. That's not me. So wherever you're at, it's all good. Right now, we're just looking for release. Let it go. There is some effort in that leg, though. You'll feel there's the leg is not totally relaxed. You're just noticing the stretch that you're creating for yourself. You're slowly walking up. We're going to do that on the other side. So first, both legs in front of us, and maybe just square off and rebalance. Flex those feet and engage your legs as if you were standing in Tadasana. Right? Inhale your arms forward and up. And again, we're leading with our chest forward, any amount. Again, don't worry. If this is where you're at, that's perfect. Engage those legs. Feel the engagement. Be mindful of your back. We definitely have to be mindful every minute. That's why we're inhaling, exhaling. Maybe we get a little more length. That's beautiful. Allow your hands to settle anywhere they want to be. Gives you a little bit of support. Yeah, doesn't matter where they are, but this allow your body to release now a little bit. Using that breath, inhale, and that exhale, this gives us that beautiful spreading release. And we're coming back up, and we plant our left foot inside that, yeah. And we're reaching, yes, our right arm around, hugging it in, heel up the backhand, lengthening our spine as much as possible. So the idea first is to sit up nice and tall. Beautiful job. So nice to have real people here. You have no idea. And then, so as we lift, we twist towards your left, right? Think about that shoulder coming away too. Soften that shoulder you're looking towards. And just notice maybe as you hug in that leg, maybe you can twist just a little more. And we're breathing, right? Inhale, lengthen, twist. Exhale back to center. Allow that knee to come down, that foot inside, yeah. And then our right arm on the inside of that right leg turning up. And then the other arm coming up and over towards your feet. So it's the other way around, Kathy.
Yeah.
Sorry to use names. No, the foot was right.
Oh.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So as you press against your thigh, you can open up sideways a little more. And see about reaching your arm toward me. Reaching the top arm overhead toward me. Does that arm want to come toward me, Kathy, a little? Yeah.
Absolutely.
There we go. Yeah. Nice, really nice. And then now let's turn toward that long leg. Slowly, yeah. And then exhale forward any amount. Allow your hands to touch the floor wherever they want to touch the floor, or your leg, whatever you feel like doing. Just enjoy your breath. Notice if the calmness of your breath keeps your face smooth, easy. And then from here, you guys can stay right. You move your prop. Maybe you might want to use it as a little bit of a pillow. We're coming down on our back. Our feet are planted. If your towel or pillow is not too high, you can keep it for under your head. This is a hard floor, but we don't want our head to come up so high that it's out of line with our sir, right? Hands alongside, feet planted about hips distance apart. Let's lift our hips up. Press down your feet and hands. Lift your hips up toward the sky. Just releasing anything in our, and rolling down from the top of our spine. And let's lift it up again on an inhale and rolling down. And hugging our knees one at a time into our chest. And let's circle our knees opposite from each other. So open them around and away from each other. Knees go around and away. Just opening up anything in our hip area. Yeah. And then release the other way. And then let your legs extend straight up toward the ceiling. And let them hang out here. Maybe we'll flex and point our feet are important to our ankles, circle our ankles. I heard a couple of cracks, maybe you will too. And let it hang out here. This is nice if you have a wall. Here in the studio, we don't really have a wall, but legs up the wall is a beautiful way to awaken the peacefulness within and allow the oxygen in the blood flow to feed your heart and your brain. Allow your knees again to come towards your chest and roll both your knees. Well, plant your feet and shift your hips over a little bit to your right. Now bring your knees into your chest and allow them to fall over to your left. Got that? Just a nice, again, just a reclining twist, this is called. And maybe you'll settle your left arm on top of that top knee. That feels nice for you. Turning your head away from that, if that feels good. I wish we had time to do more breaths here. We're going to come back to center. This is something fun to do on your own. Plant your feet again. Shift your hips a little bit to the left. Knees towards your body and flop them out to the right. And the right hand can come on top if you like. Just notice where you're finding this beautiful sense of release. We certainly discover parts of our body that we might not have even known was carrying any type of tightness or tension. That happens when we get a massage, which I don't do that often. I probably should do it more. But all of a sudden, the masseuse will touch a part of your body and go, "Ooh, I didn't know that was tight or sore." So we discover that in yoga without getting an expensive massage. There's value to everything now. Rolling back to center. Plant your feet down. Allow your legs to spread out long. Heels as wide as the mat, feet flopping out. Lift those shoulder blades. Allow your arms to open up, palms up. And totally surrender to the floor, to gravity. This release of effort and support. Notice when this happens, when this calmness happens, how you might be experiencing a release of energy within your whole body. That energy within you, bringing this peacefulness. This is called Shavasana, our final and most important pose of yoga, giving the body this opportunity to absorb all the effort it has created and bringing the calmness, that necessary calmness to this effort. Relaxing at the crown of the head, smoothing out the forehead. Smoothing and softening the muscles of your face, around your neck and your throat, through your shoulders. Your arms feel heavy. Bringing that attention all the way down your arms, to your hands, to your fingers. And sense how that calmness stretches all the way to the tips of your fingers. Bring this awareness back up the arms and shoulders. And let this calmness fill up the whole space of your chest, around your heart and lungs. Releasing down the torso, through the abdomen. Just noticing how that abdomen is releasing. All the organs in the belly are relaxing. The hips and the pelvis succumbing to gravity. The legs heavy. Down to the feet. Toes. Tips of toes. Bringing this awareness back up the body, slowly, of course, through the spinal column, the neck, around the head and face. Picture your whole body and bring with that image and awareness that your whole body is benefiting from your breath. Start to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, bringing your legs towards your chest. Roll over to your right side and stay there just for a moment or two, resting comfortably. Sensing the foundation of peacefulness and groundedness that lies within. Using your left hand, keeping your eyes closed, pushing yourself up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position. Sensing the foundation of peacefulness and groundedness that's lying within. See if you can recognize that how you breathe and how you practice affects that peacefulness that you can bring with you. That peacefulness that will affect how you think, speak, and what you do. Bring your hands together in front of heart center. Hope that We've begun to awaken that peacefulness within. May you go forth in peacefulness today and have the best day. To lift your heart center and bow your head. Namaste.